So, for driving rules, if I would recommend anything, I don't think it's a law in Arizona. I'm not sure. I was adding up how many years I've been driving, and it has been over 35 years, amazingly. And in Kentucky, at least 35 years ago, when I took my driver's test, back then it was the law that you had to be in control of your car at all times. So in case of accidents, it didn't matter what, you had an obligation or you had a responsibility to be in charge of or in control of your car as long as you're in the car and driving it. And two, the pedestrian always had a right of way. It didn't matter if it's in a highway, parking lot, or whatever, pedestrians always have the right of way. And so to me, everybody kind of should practice that law regardless of what state you're in, because if you go by the law that the pedestrian always has the right of way, there's less chance of, and you go at it with more respect as to how you drive. And I highly recommend that, especially during the holidays or if you're learning how to drive, because it's very frustrating. I know during the holidays their parking lots are really packed, and safety wise it's time consuming. So you either have to go out early in the morning shopping, or just assume half an hour to 1 hour extra due to traffic for pedestrians, because most pedestrians, they don't look as to where they're going. And that has even happened to me, even though I try very hard not to do that. Sometimes you're on the phone or concentrating on something else and you don't realize it, and you walk without looking. So if I could so highly recommend for people to always assume that at all times, irregardless of where you're driving, whether it's highway or not, that the pedestrian always has a right of way. It's one of those things that I don't understand why a lot of people don't do, and they don't care. They act like they're just not paying any attention. So, and today was the first time also that I voted in a while, and it was so nice that I had already pre-voted and mailed it in. I would highly also recommend that to anybody. If your state has pre-voting where you can mail in your ballot ahead of time, I would highly recommend that. Then that way you don't have to worry about it on the day of the election, to go there before work or after work, and you can get it done ahead of time, which is what I did. I sent it in like 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time, and it becomes so much easier, which I would highly recommend at any time if you can do it in your state. Or I think some states also have where you can do absentee ballots. I would also recommend that, because even though in Arizona they have been really highly pushing to having registration everywhere, there were a number of places that you couldn't vote at, or the machines weren't, you couldn't get into the building and stuff. So it's something that I would very highly recommend, especially with voter suppression that's going on. It is highly recommended to do that. Also, another thing for driving, I was told that one of the delivery companies that does deliveries, one thing they recommend to their employees, for their drivers, is never to go into the parking spot going in. They always back into a parking spot. If they have to park in a regular parking spot, they back into it. That way, coming out, they can easily see how to come out, and safety wise. And that's another thing I would recommend too, is if you can back into your parking spot when you park, they say that for safety it's better. So and also I guess because if you back up at, or if you're pulling out at night or early in the morning, you might not see in behind you. But if you're backing up, if you're pulling out and your headlights are on, even if it's at night, it's safer. So that's another driving tip, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you. Oh, also, if you like the videos, please subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate that. We are going to have, I will shortly have interviews. So, thank you.